Hey Dynamo Nation, what's going on? My name is James. Thank you for joining me on this episode today. If you're new to the channel, new to Dynamo Nation, welcome. I appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribed, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Definitely helps out the channel, helps me pump out more Dynasty content like this. And today we have another subscriber breakdown video. This is number 5 in this series. I'm really enjoying doing this. Let's keep it going. And yeah, let's get right into it. So without further ado, let's jump into the first slide. The team this week was submitted by subscriber John Sharkey. Shout out to John. John's been a supporter from almost the beginning. So John, appreciate you, man. Let's take a look at this squad here. This is a 12-team tight end premium. Obviously Dynasty League. It's a PPR scoring. 27-man rosters, 2 IR spots. Starting requirements, 1 QB, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. 1 flex, and then 1 super flex. For all my super flex truthers out there, I know you guys like that. Now, this team from John, we're going to show the draft situation right here in a second. But I'm going to do a little caveat here. John's coming off the title in this league. 8-6 regular season, it didn't matter. He put his big boy pants on come playoff times, and he started smacking people. All right, so let's look at the draft situation. You can see right now John's sitting in a beautiful spot. He's got picks 2 and 3 right out the gate in the 2022 rookie draft. On top of that, he has pick 112. There's 1 third, 1 fourth. And then he's got his own first and second in 2023, his own picks in 2024. And like I said, coming off of a championship in 2021 and having this type of draft capital, this is an elite way to build your team. John's built this team the right way. The right way, guys. You're talking about winning now, competing now, but also stacking up assets down the line. That's how we sustain dynasties. And not just for a 2-3 year window. Everyone talks about, oh, it's a 3-year window. Bullshit. It doesn't have to be a 3-year window. You could do dynasty. You can run a dynasty for 7, 8, 9 seasons if you do it right. When I was doing this team, I had fun doing this because this looked like one of my squads. You're winning right now, building for the future. You're rolling it all into one. When you start getting down to this nitty gritty in dynasty, I mean, this is it. This is the peak of the mountain. When you start formulating your teams like this. All right. Now, this is a super flex league, like I said. Let's take a look at the position for John, his quarterbacks. Let's take a look and see how he's doing there. Right out the gate, we can see he's got 2 big boys. Yes, Josh Allen's elite, one of the best quarterbacks in all of fantasy. But Derek Carr is your number 2 quarterback. That's saying something. And Carr gets slept on every single year. He's like Kirk Cousins. He's never going to give you this crazy trade value, but the dude is just consistent and solid. And honestly, as your QB2 in a Superflex league, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. And then we can see he's got Mac Jones as the QB3 on this squad. I mean, if you're rolling in Mac Jones as your QB3, coming off his rookie season, he had peaks and valleys as all rookies do. But there's obviously talent there. He's with a football genius in Belichick. He's only going to get better. And if that's your QB3, you are sitting very comfortably in a super flex league. Very comfortably. So, I mean, you have to give this room an A+ in super flex. It's got youth. It's got depth. I like this room a lot. High performers. This is a really solid room. All right. Let's take a look at the running back situation. Right away, I mean, I like this blend. We got Josh Jacobs. Michael Carter is our 2 starters. I can live with that. And then you have a lot of handcuffs, which I love. This is a very smart strategy to do in Dynasty. J.D. McKissick, Zach Moss, Kenneth Gainwell, Hubbard. I mean, those are a lot of handcuffs. And the thing with running backs in football, we've seen it all season in 2021. They get hurt. They get hurt a lot. Too many teams try to spend so much resources gathering these running backs up. And I get it. It's super important to have running backs. But if you can grab 2, 3 decent players at running back and then stack your roster full of handcuffs, and you don't need somebody to go down for the whole season, but if you can pick up 2-3 weeks here and there of starts out of your second string running backs, that's great. That's a great strategy. I mean, I did that in 2021 with Devontae Booker, who had multiple games for me in PPR where he scored close to 20 points. Booker did it. Hubbard did it this year with CMNC going down. 2 years in a row he's went down. So, I mean, there's so many players, so many running backs that get hurt every single season. This is a smart strategy. Build your rosters this way. Stack up those backup running backs. I do this every offseason. Right around cut times, you're going to see all these backup running backs get cut, right? Teams have to drop their rosters. And in that scenario, it's time to swoop in and grab those handcuffs immediately. It's a very smart strategy. And the thing is, if you're rebuilding It's great because if you can do that, grab these handcuffs the moment that they hit, the moment they blow up. Like Damian Williams was another one this year. Damian Williams, Darrell Williams, they all had a couple of games where they were starting. Damian Williams, as soon as Montgomery went down, I flipped Damian Williams. I kept Booker and I kept Darrell Williams. But those were the three guys I had all offseason. It's a very smart strategy to employ. I like how John has his roster set up like that. I don't know if that was your intention, John, but if it was, nice job. Let's take a look at the receivers. Again, John's got some players on this team. You know, we see number one, Tyreek Hill. It doesn't get much better than that as a wide receiver one in a 12-team league. And then T. Higgins, who is coming on very strong. He is tethered, like I said before, Burrow and Jamar Chase. Higgins is going to eat. He's going to have a lot of open looks. I really like T. Higgins, just as a standalone. But the fact that he's in that offense, he's got a lot of value. And then we can see the rest of this team. Elijah Moore looked great this season. Great. Rondell Moore, there's upside there. Juju I like a lot. He's a mystery. We're going to see what happens. And I hope he's matured. That's been his biggest issue. But we've seen him produce. Ben's gone. You know, we're going to see, does Juju go back to Pittsburgh? Does he test free agency? Does he land in a great spot? That's somebody that you just keep hold and let's see what happens come free agency. Brandon Cooks, another one. He's been really solid the last few years. The right side of the room I'm not in love with, honestly. I don't think there's any real upside here. These are all guys that I would be looking to move this offseason, but we can get into that a little bit later on. So your wide receiver room, I like a lot. There's depth, there's youth, there's veterans. I mean, you have a blend of players, and that's the beauty of structuring your roster this way. And especially having these early draft picks, now you have choices. Do you draft young studs early in this draft at receiver in hopes that maybe they can replace the production you're going to lose from Hill in a season or two? Or maybe gives you an opportunity to trade Hill in a season or two? That's stuff we have to start thinking about. But the way your roster is structured and set up, you at least have options. And that's the beauty of Dynasty. Giving yourself options, you're never going to be backed into a corner. Okay? Let's take a look at the tight end room, especially since this is a tight end premium league. We can see, I mean, the hits keep on coming. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the game. On top of that, there's Dalton Schultz as a tight end 2 on this team. And then he backs that up with Dawson Knox. I mean, Dan Arnold, Ricky Seals-Jones, I'm not going to get into. But the fact that you've got Kittle, Schultz, Dawson Knox, I mean, 1 through 3, that roster is stacked at tight end. And honestly, you're rostering too many tight ends in my opinion. You don't need tight ends 4 and 5. You've got 3 studs. Roll with them, be happy, quit being greedy, John. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm noticing here. You're being greedy, John. Quit being greedy. Save some talent for everybody else, man. Don't be like that. So let's take a look at the next one. You know, we can see the cornerstone pieces here. For me, the 2 biggest pieces on this team, I'm trying to limit your cornerstones to a couple of players. It's Josh Allen and it's T. Higgins. I like T. Higgins a lot. Tyreek Hill is too old for me to consider to be a cornerstone, especially at receiver. Same with Kittle. You know, Kittle's had a lot of injuries. He's starting to creep up in age. T. Higgins is your best young skill player to me. And obviously Josh Allen is an absolute stud. And you can't go wrong having these 2 guys on your team. Honestly. You've got Allen, like I said, top 2, 3 at worst, dynasty quarterback. And I honestly think Higgins is really, really knocking on the doorstep to being a top 12 dynasty receiver. You know, he might be right there, 11, 12, 13. He's in that range. You know, he's a really talented player. And this is a great situation for you to build around, honestly. But let's keep it moving. This next wave of this team is what I'm really excited about. This middle tier, middle class, as I've been calling it, is extremely talented on this team. Let's take a look. We can see right away, obviously, the Josh Jacobs, the Dalton Schultz, the Michael Carters, the Mac Jones, Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore. This is a very healthy middle tier of this squad, and they are all extremely young. Extremely young. And, you know, when you look at a team structured this way, especially coming off the championship, you won the championship, I'm going to guess, based on those tight ends, Schultz and Kittle, especially in the tight end premium league. You know, having Tyreek Hill, an elite wide receiver 1, and then those quarterbacks, Allen and Derek Carr. Like, your running backs are fine, but Carter was hurt most of the back half of the season. Jacobs is a fine running back. He's not like some elite stud. He's probably even borderline RB1. He's probably closer to, you know, RB 14, 15, 16 in that range. But this goes to show you, you don't have to have these top tier stud running backs in order to compete. This structure of this team, this lineup, how this is set up, especially in a Superflex, tight end premium league, this is the way to go. I really like how John built this team up. I can't say that enough. I like this one a lot. So when we're looking at our keepers for this squad, it's real simple. We're going to keep all of our starters. Juju, like I said earlier, we're keeping him. Elijah Moore, Kenneth Gainwell, Dawson Knox, Rondell Moore, and Hubbard, to me, these are going to be the main keepers, And my thing about these players are, I want to keep those backup running backs, those handcuffs, that are possibly going to pop off next season. I picked Gainwell and Hubbard for a reason. Both of their starters cannot stay healthy. They've proven that the last few years. Miles Sanders, CMNC, both keep going down with injuries, right? And if you're John, you're sitting on this team, invest in those second-tier players because you're still going to get solid production and keep building up the rest of this team. Look at the quarterbacks, look at the receivers, and look at the tight ends. He's starting both those tight ends in his tight end premium league, and he's killing it. This is a very smart way to structure this roster. And then now let's look at the cuts. The players who are going to be out on this team. To me, these are the players I'm moving immediately if I can to free up the roster space, get more draft picks, because that's what you need to do. Grab some draft picks, rookie picks, target these mid-round picks, and keep replenishing this roster. Players like Sammy Watkins, Tariq Cohen, Carlos Hyde, Emmanuel Sanders, MVS, Robbie Anderson. If anyone in your league is willing to give you anything of substance for any of these players, please, John, please hit the damn accept button. You don't need these dudes. Go out there, hustle up some trades, get those draft picks, third, fourth round picks. Do what you have to do. Go get some more picks. Flip this roster. Continue to flip. Flip the bottom of it out. And this is like we've talked about this before in these draft strategy videos. Stock up on those third and fourth round picks. Grab as many as you can. Keep churning the bottom of your roster. This is how we build. This is how we can build sustainability. Churn out the bottom of that roster, and you might find a player here or there every single season that ascends into that middle class. That's what we're looking to do. These are all players to me on a decline or players that will have no value whatsoever moving forward. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of your situation. You can, honestly, winning the championship and having the early picks that you do, you have so much power in this league because you control the flow of everything right now. People are going to want to come to you for those picks, and your quarterback room is set. And we know in Superflex, those quarterbacks are getting bumped up. Sitting at 2, worst case scenario, sitting at 2, you're going to have your pick for the best receiver on the board. Because I highly doubt in a Superflex league, especially when teams need QBs, that Burks is going 1 or maybe Wilson going. I'm not seeing that. Someone's going to reach for a QB. It happens every single year. Every year. So right now, let's take a look at John's starting lineup in 2022. We can see right out the gate the names we've already said: Allen, Jacobs, Carter, Hill, Higgins, Kittle, Schultz, and Derek Carr. Those are going to be our starters right now, and I would feel comfortable running that team back for next season. It's hard if you're coming off a title to sit here and not feel complacent and you want to tinker with stuff. Or sometimes the old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I would not mess with this roster too much, especially these stars. If you can find an upgrade, by all means upgrade. But you don't need to go out and get desperate to upgrade. This team, I think, still has enough next season to compete for another title. And that's what this is all about. Right? So let's take a look at offseason strategy for John if I was taking his team over. So for me, right out the gate, coming off that 2021 title win, having all that early draft capital, I would honestly be looking to move pick number 2, surprisingly. Now, I know what you might all be thinking. I mean, he's probably going to be sitting in a situation to where he could draft Burks and Wilson at 2-3. Now, that would be a hell of a situation for your receiver room moving forward because you have your quarterback room locked down. But to me, teams get so desperate for a quarterback, especially if QB goes 1. And we're going to see how these QBs shake out come NFL draft, all that. But if QB goes 1 and you're sitting at 2-3, then you know for a fact you're going to get a stud receiver at 3. And there's a really good chance that a quarterback's going 2. And if that were to happen, man, you're going to be able to drive the price in that league, get as much as you want for that pick. I would use the second pick to, A, grab more draft picks in the future. 100% someone's 2023 first, without a doubt, is in that trade talk. And on top of that, I'm getting more depth for my team. Ideally, I'm trying to lock down a running back. That's what I'm looking to do in your situation, especially if we're competing for another championship. Running back, another first-round pick. And I'm getting as much as I possibly can. That should be the move I think that you make. Do that. Flip number 2. You still have 3 and you still have 12 to sit on, right? So you sit there, get another first for next year. Hopefully, ideally, it's going to be an early. Get a startable running back for next season. You might even be able to get another receiver on top of this, a wide receiver 2, a Michael Pittman, somebody like that. You might be able to pull that off. And if you do, I mean, this team's going to have so much depth to work with. And then you're still on the back end number 3. You're still going to be able to pick an elite young wide receiver that you can possibly replace with Hill in the lineup next season, right? And then that gives you more trade opportunities, because if you draft a Burks or a Wilson at 3 and they turn into Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson over the last few years, and you have a young elite player at receiver, what does that do for you? That allows you to trade Hill next season as he's another year older and as his value starts to decline. And that allows you to continue to extend that window. Cascade these trades. I love how, if you can do this the right way, I love how your team sets up for the future. I really do. And then at 12, I know your quarterback room is set, but to me, honestly, your team is looking so solid right now, it might even be in your benefit to draft another quarterback. One more. And I say that based on Mac Jones. If Mac Jones takes another step next season and Carr's still playing really elite and he's putting up QB1 numbers, you might have a situation on your hands, especially if you have another rookie quarterback who is playing well, and you're going to have 4 starters on your team. Again, a Superflex league, teams are going to come calling for those quarterbacks. They just are. And if you got 4 starters sitting on your hands, you're going to be able to drive the price up and set the price. And you're going to get a lot more than pick 12. I could tell you that from one of those starting quarterbacks. You know that. I know you know that. So that would be my draft strategy for you. Trade number 2, load up on assets, load up on future picks, build the depth up a little bit more, grab one more running back. I think that's your weakest spot on the skill position side. I would grab one more running back there, right? Take the best receiver on the board at 3, draft a quarterback at 12, and give yourself options as we move forward. The way your team's constructed right now, I still think you're going to have a chance to win it next year. Period. But if you can make these little finesse moves to set yourself up for next offseason, the 2023 offseason, you'll be able to move off of players like Carr as they're getting older, Hill as he's getting older, and just continue to flip more assets into your team. And then what I see a team that needs to run it back. Honestly, I've been saying it. This team I like. I like how you've structured this. I would run it back 100%. 8-6, I think you probably underperformed in the regular season. I would expect next season 9-10 wins based on this roster as long as you stay healthy, you know. And if you can go out and upgrade at running back by trading number 2, draft a really high-end elite young wide receiver at number 3, and then make that pick at 12, best quarterback on the board. And really, that's more about what does that allow you to do moving forward. And you might trade that player on draft day. I've done that plenty of times. I did that with Trey Sermon this past offseason. I was sitting on pick 1-8 in a 1 QB draft. And I'm in a league full of San Francisco 49ers fans. Chock full of them. And I knew someone was going to be gunning for Trey Sermon. I knew it was going to happen. And I'm sitting there. So, like, I'm picking at 2, 3, 6, and 8 in that league. So, 2 went Chase. 3 went Pitts. I drafted Devontae Smith at 6. And I'm sitting there at 8. I'm like, what can I do? I'm going to take Sermon. And I drafted Sermon with the intention of trading him. And what I got for Sermon, it's embarrassing. It's really, I mean, I got over bad. Like highway robbery bad. So there was a guy in that league. Mikey, I'm shouting you out, buddy. I have to. It was Mikey. Anyone who's got some shit to talk, drop it in the comments below. Let Mikey know how bad he got rocked. He knows how bad he got rocked, but make sure he really feels it. So he wanted Sermon. He's a homer. I know he's a homer. I'm going to use that to my advantage, right? So I draft Sermon. Mikey comes back at the 1-9, all mad. He texts me immediately. He drafted Bateman. I like Bateman, right? That would have been my pick. Then Mikey comes back at like pick 12. He drafted Who was it? Terrace Marshall. So, long story short, end of the draft, Mikey approaches me. I'll give you Bateman. I'll give you Terrace Marshall. I will give you a second rounder in 2024, and I will give you a first rounder in 2023. What do you guys think I did? I absolutely snapped that trade up immediately. Immediately. And honestly, Marshall is a throw-in. That's how this trade is shaking out. It's Bateman, it's that first, it's that second, and a throw-in in Marshall for Trey Sermon. Mikey, you got smacked, buddy. I'm sorry for that. I am. Sometimes I sit back and I didn't think about it. And I feel bad for a split second. But then I remember this is Dynasty. And then I start to smile again and just think, if it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else that did it to you, bud. So that's going to be the video, Dynamo Nation. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, check out the Patreon. Check out Twitter. That stuff is up. And yeah, that's going to be it. Let's get it, Dynamo Nation. You guys have a great week. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.